Thank you, Wendell. Good evening and welcome to tonight's regional news. We now begin with news from Jamaica. Minister of Health Dr. Christopher Tufton says based on modeling, up to 1.5 million Jamaicans may contract COVID-19. Dr. Tufton said a minority of these positives will need hospitalization and the vast majority will have to home quarantine. There are currently 2,096 active cases of COVID-19 being monitored, with Dr. Tufton announcing last week that the country had entered the community spread phase. Meanwhile, the country now has 34 deaths from COVID-19, doubling over the last 2 weeks. Holness said that the health authorities have advised that the surge in cases can be linked to certain activities, conventions, funerals, parties, and nomination day. We now turn to news from Trinidad and Tobago. COVID-19 has reached the President's house in Trinidad and Tobago. Her Excellency Paula May Weeks has gone into self-quarantine after being listed as a primary contact to her aide-de-camp who recently tested positive for COVID-19. The President of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, however, has tested negative for COVID-19. All buildings on the President's house compound were sanitized overnight. Testing of Office of the President's staff is still ongoing. This was confirmed on Monday by the Communications Advisor to the President, Cheryl Lala. And now in Dominica, the Dominican government has deported more than 40 Haitian nationals after the High Court paved the way for their removal after having illegally entered the island last month. Minister of National Security Ray Blackmore said the Commonwealth of Dominica, like every other country in the world, has a sovereign right to keep its most precious resource, its citizens, safe. He said even before COVID-19, Dominica waged a constant battle with persons, including its own nationals, entering the island illegally, but now it was a greater matter of concern with the advent of COVID-19. Speaking on the state-owned DPS radio, Blackmore said an outbreak of the virus was not the only concern regarding the illegal migration, I quote, but a cross-fertilization of crime because the same people who traffic in human are the very same ones who traffic in firearms and illegal dangerous drugs, end of quote. And now for some news from St. Lucia. The St. Lucia government has welcomed the decision by the United States Center for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, to remove its coronavirus COVID-19 travel warning for the island. Prime Minister Alan Chastanet said that, I quote, "This is even more validation of our country's success in the management of COVID-19. We have to keep following our protocols and ensuring that pre-testing is done before visitors arrive in St. Lucia. This takes the support and cooperation of all the stakeholders in the travel industry," end of quote. In its previous Level 3 reconsideration travel notice, the CDC urged Americans to avoid non-essential travel to St. Lucia due to serious risks to safety and security. But in its latest advisory last week, the CDC placed St. Lucia at Watch Level 1, saying COVID-19 risk in St. Lucia is low, new cases are decreasing or stable. And finally, in tonight's regional news, a judge in Bolivia has upheld a decision by the Electoral Tribunal barring former President Evo Morales from running for the Senate. Morales wanted to stand as a candidate for the Senate in the central region of Cochabamba. But the tribunal ruled in February that he did not fulfill the requirement of having resided in the region for the 2 years leading up to the poll. Morales left Bolivia in November and is currently living in Argentina. The government of interim President Jeanine Áñez, which has been in power since Morales resigned, is vehemently opposed to the former leader and has said that she wants him to, I quote, "face justice," end of quote. It has accused him of terrorism and genocide, saying he had orchestrated 12 days of roadblocks which had caused hospitals to run low on key supplies. It had earlier accused him of terrorism and sedition in connection with the unrest following the disputed election last year, and the Deputy Justice Minister filed a complaint against him over allegations he had committed statutory rape. A court in Cochabamba is currently weighing the complaint and has 20 days to decide whether the case has enough merit to proceed. Morales has denied all the allegations and says he is the victim of political vendetta by the interim government. That was all for tonight's regional news. Thank you for joining. Bye.